Human trafficking is a global crisis. It preys on the vulnerable. It thrives in the shadows. This modern-day slavery shatters lives and tears families apart. Men, women, and children are tricked with false promises. They dream of a better life. Instead, they are trapped in a nightmare. Forced labor, sexual exploitation, and organ harvesting become their reality. The emotional toll is immeasurable. Victims endure physical and psychological trauma. The scars of their ordeal run deep. The fight for survival becomes a daily struggle. The world must wake up to this human rights catastrophe. Pakistan has emerged as a new focal point in the human trafficking crisis. While African nations have historically been major sources of victims, recent years have seen a surge in Pakistanis being trafficked. This shift highlights the expanding reach of this criminal enterprise. It underscores the urgent need for targeted interventions. Pakistan's socio-economic challenges contribute to its vulnerability. Poverty, lack of education, and limited opportunities create a breeding ground for exploitation. Traffickers prey on desperation, offering false hopes and dreams to lure their victims. The Balkan route stands as a stark example of the failure to prevent human trafficking. This notorious path sees traffickers move victims from Turkey through Greece, North Macedonia, Serbia, Montenegro, Bosnia, and finally to Croatia. Despite efforts to tighten border security, the flow of desperate souls continues. This failure is a collective indictment of governments and international organizations. Porous borders, corruption, and lack of coordination create loopholes for traffickers to exploit. The arrest of 13 individuals in Montenegro involved in trafficking 352 people, including Pakistanis, underscores the organized nature of this crime. Combating human trafficking demands a multi-pronged approach. Firstly, we must hold traffickers accountable. Strong legal frameworks, effective law enforcement, and swift prosecution are crucial. The arrest and trial of Sarim Birni, accused of trafficking over 25 children from Pakistan to the US, is a step in the right direction. Secondly, prevention is paramount. This requires addressing the root causes of vulnerability, such as poverty and lack of education. Empowering communities, raising awareness about the dangers of trafficking, and providing viable economic alternatives are essential. Organizations like Voice of World UK play a vital role in this fight. Their efforts to shine a light on this dark underbelly of society are commendable. By amplifying the voices of victims and advocating for change, they inspire action. We must remember that behind the statistics are real people whose lives have been shattered. Every individual saved represents a victory. Let us work together to dismantle these criminal networks, bring traffickers to justice, and create a world where every human being is free. A perilous gamble, the desperate flight for a better life. A rickety boat crammed with souls bobs precariously on a vast, unforgiving ocean. A sweltering tractor-trailer, its air thick with fear and desperation, speeds through the night. These are the stark images of a global crisis. The desperate journeys of migrants risking everything for a shot at a better life. Every year, thousands of individuals and families make the heart-wrenching decision to leave behind their homes, their loved ones, and everything familiar. Driven by poverty, violence, or persecution, they embark on perilous journeys, often falling prey to the ruthless exploitation of human traffickers. The promise of a brighter future, however distant, outweighs the immediate dangers that lie ahead. The year 2024 witnessed a complex and evolving landscape in migration trends, particularly at the US-Mexico border. While official figures pointed towards a decline in migrant encounters, the human cost of these journeys remained alarmingly high. Behind the statistics lie countless stories of resilience, loss, and the desperate struggle for survival. Shifting sands of policy walls and loopholes in 2024. The year 2024 saw a significant decrease in migrant encounters at the US-Mexico border. Numbers plummeted to some of the lowest levels in years, a stark contrast to the record highs witnessed at the close of 2023. This shift was largely attributed to a tightening of policies on both sides of the border. Mexico, under pressure from the US, intensified its enforcement efforts, creating a formidable barrier for migrants attempting to reach the US border. Simultaneously, the US implemented stricter asylum policies, making it exceedingly difficult for those seeking refuge to navigate the legal pathways. President Biden's June 2024 executive order restricting asylum access for those crossing between ports of entry played a key role in stemming the flow of migrants. However, this decline in crossings did not signal a resolution to the crisis, but rather a shift in its dynamics. The stricter policies, while deterring some, pushed others towards more dangerous and clandestine routes, often at the mercy of unscrupulous smugglers. The unseen toll human cost beyond the statistics. Despite the decrease in overall migration numbers, the humanitarian consequences of these journeys remained dire. The tightening of border controls and the increasing difficulty in securing legal entry forced many into precarious situations, often with tragic outcomes. Reports of migrant deaths, particularly along the perilous routes through the El Paso sector, surged. The unforgiving desert landscape, coupled with increasingly desperate measures taken by migrants to evade detection, proved deadly for many. Furthermore, the tightening of US asylum policies left countless individuals stranded in Mexico, vulnerable to exploitation, violence, and human rights abuses. The CBP One app, intended to streamline the process for asylum seekers by allowing them to schedule appointments at ports of entry, inadvertently created a bottleneck. With a limited number of appointments available and a surge in demand, many were left waiting for months, their hopes dwindling with each passing day. A world adrift migration in the shadow of global upheaval. The challenges faced by migrants at the US-Mexico border in 2024 were emblematic of a broader global trend. The rise of populist and far-right political movements, fueled by anti-immigrant sentiments, led to a tightening of borders and a hardening of stances towards asylum seekers worldwide. The re-election of Donald Trump in the United States, a staunch advocate for restrictive immigration policies, reverberated across the globe, emboldening like-minded leaders and further constricting the space for humane and compassionate solutions to the global migration crisis. The externalization of asylum management, with countries increasingly shifting the responsibility of processing asylum claims onto their neighbors, became the norm rather than the exception. The year 2024 also witnessed a surge in displacement crises across the globe. The conflict in Sudan, the ongoing humanitarian crisis in Gaza, and the political and economic turmoil in Haiti forced millions to flee their homes, adding to the already staggering number of displaced persons worldwide. These crises, often intertwined with poverty, climate change, and political instability, underscored the complex and multifaceted nature of forced migration, a challenge that demands global cooperation and a commitment to human rights. Many people dream of a better life. They live in countries with few opportunities. These countries might have high unemployment or they might have low wages. People struggle to survive, they want to provide for their families, so they look for opportunities in other countries. They hope to find good jobs, they want to earn more money. This makes them vulnerable to human traffickers. Traffickers prey on this desperation. They know people are looking for a way out. They offer false promises. They paint a picture of a perfect life. They promise high-paying jobs. They guarantee a better future. People desperate for change can easily fall for these lies. They don't realize the danger they are in. Many are lured to places like Europe or the Middle East. These regions are seen as lands of opportunity. People believe they can earn a lot of money there. They think they can send money back home to their families. This dream of a better life blinds them to the risks. Traffickers use many tricks to deceive people. They create fake recruitment ads. These ads promise amazing jobs. They offer high salaries and incredible benefits. They often target people with specific skills. For example, they might target nurses, construction workers, or domestic workers.
Are you a skilled nurse looking for a high-paying job abroad? We have amazing opportunities with incredible benefits. Apply now.
They also use WhatsApp messages to connect with potential victims. They build trust by pretending to be friendly and helpful. They might even use fake documents to seem legitimate. They might show fake visas or work permits. They might even create fake testimonials from satisfied customers.
I saw an ad for a nursing job in Europe. They sent me messages on WhatsApp and even showed me a fake work permit. It all seems so real.
Traffickers often target people who don't know how to migrate legally. They know these people are desperate for help. They exploit this desperation for their own gain. They charge exorbitant fees for their services. They promise to handle all the paperwork. They assure their victims that everything is legal. Many victims are unaware of legal migration processes. They don't know how to get a visa. They don't understand work permits. This lack of knowledge makes them easy targets for traffickers. They believe the lies because they don't know any better.
I didn't know how to get a visa or a work permit. The traffickers seem to know everything. They promised to handle it all for me.
They trust the traffickers because they seem knowledgeable. The traffickers offer a simple solution. They promise to take care of everything. They make it seem easy. But this ease comes at a terrible price.
The victims often end up in forced labor. They are forced to work long hours in terrible conditions. They are trapped in a nightmare they never imagined.
Social media has become a powerful tool for traffickers. They use platforms like Facebook and Instagram to find victims. They create fake profiles. They join groups where vulnerable people might be. They post about amazing job opportunities abroad.
Want to live a luxurious life abroad? We have high-paying jobs waiting for you. Join us now.
They often share videos and photos of a luxurious lifestyle. These posts show people enjoying wealth and success. They make people believe that this lifestyle is easily attainable. This creates a powerful illusion.
I saw all these posts on Instagram about people living in luxury. It made me believe I could have that life too.
People are drawn in by the promise of wealth and glamour. They don't realize it's all a lie. They become trapped in a web of exploitation. Human trafficking is a global crisis. It is a form of modern-day slavery. Millions of people around the world are trapped in this web of exploitation. Men, women, and children are all victims. They are tricked, coerced, or kidnapped. Then they are sold and forced into various forms of exploitation. This essay will shed light on the dark world of human trafficking. We will examine the roots, the financial aspects, and the dangers faced by victims. Traffickers prey on the vulnerable. They target people in desperate situations. These might be individuals fleeing conflict, poverty, or persecution. The promise of a better life is a powerful lure. However, this promise often turns into a nightmare. Victims find themselves trapped in a cycle of abuse and exploitation. Human trafficking routes are complex and constantly evolving. We will focus on three major routes in this essay. These routes are Libya to Italy across the Mediterranean Sea, Turkey to Greece across the Aegean Sea, and Pakistan to Iran to Turkey via land routes. Each route presents unique dangers and challenges for those who are trafficked. This essay aims to provide a glimpse into the harsh realities of human trafficking. This is a global issue that demands our attention. By understanding the mechanics of this crime, we can work towards its eradication. The journey from Libya to Italy is one of the most perilous routes for migrants and refugees. This route across the Mediterranean Sea is fraught with danger. Traffickers exploit the desperation of those seeking safety and opportunity in Europe. Victims, often fleeing conflict or poverty, are lured with false promises of a better life. They pay exorbitant fees to board overcrowded and unseaworthy boats. These vessels are death traps. They are often ill-equipped for the journey. Many lack basic safety features like life jackets. The risk of capsizing or sinking is high. The vastness of the Mediterranean makes rescue attempts difficult. Thousands have perished at sea, their dreams swallowed by the waves. Those who survive the treacherous crossing often face further hardship upon reaching European shores. They may be detained in overcrowded and unsanitary detention centers. Many are subject to exploitation and abuse within these centers. Their journey, far from being over, often marks the beginning of a new struggle for survival. The Libyan route to Italy is a stark reminder of the human cost of trafficking. It is a testament to the desperation of those who risk everything for a chance at a better life. This route, controlled by ruthless traffickers, continues to claim lives and exploit vulnerable individuals. The Aegean Sea, separating Turkey from Greece, has become another perilous route for human trafficking. This route gained notoriety during the Syrian refugee crisis. However, it continues to be a major passage for migrants from various countries seeking refuge in Europe. Traffickers operate with impunity along this route. They exploit the vulnerability of those fleeing war and persecution. Victims, often families with young children, pay exorbitant sums to board small inflatable boats. These flimsy vessels are often overloaded and ill-equipped for the journey. They face the constant threat of capsizing in the choppy waters of the Aegean. The journey is particularly dangerous at night. Darkness hides them from Coast Guard patrols, but also increases the risk of accidents. Upon reaching Greek islands, like Lesbos, many migrants find themselves stranded in overcrowded refugee camps. These camps often lack basic necessities like food, water, and sanitation. The conditions are dire. Children are particularly vulnerable to disease and exploitation within these camps. The journey from Turkey to Greece, though seemingly shorter than other routes, is fraught with danger and uncertainty. The land route from Pakistan to Iran and then onward to Turkey presents its own set of dangers for those being trafficked. This route is often favored by traffickers moving victims from South Asia towards Europe. This journey can take months. It involves navigating treacherous mountain passes and vast deserts. Victims often endure extreme weather conditions, lack of access to food and water, and the constant threat of violence from traffickers. They travel in cramped and inhumane conditions, often hidden in secret compartments of trucks or forced to walk for days on end. The risk of injury, illness, and death is high. The porous borders between Pakistan, Iran, and Turkey provide ample opportunities for traffickers to operate. They bribe border officials and exploit legal loopholes to move their victims undetected. The victims, often lacking proper documentation, are at the mercy of their traffickers. They have little recourse to legal protection or assistance. This route, though less visible than sea crossings, represents a significant channel for human trafficking. It highlights the global reach and complexity of this illicit trade. Human trafficking is a global crisis. It is a form of modern-day slavery. Millions of people are trafficked each year. Victims are forced into labor, sex work, and other exploitative situations. This crime knows no borders. It impacts every country in the world. We must act now to stop it. The consequences of human trafficking are devastating. Victims suffer physical and emotional abuse. They are often denied basic human rights. Children are particularly vulnerable to trafficking. They are easily manipulated and exploited. We have a moral obligation to protect the innocent and vulnerable. This is not just a humanitarian issue. Human trafficking fuels organized crime. It undermines the rule of law. It destabilizes communities and economies. Governments, law enforcement, and individuals must work together. We need a multi-pronged approach to combat this complex problem. We can make a difference by raising awareness, strengthening laws, and supporting victims. We can dismantle trafficking networks. We must act with urgency and determination. The fight against human trafficking is a fight for human dignity and freedom. Governments play a vital role in combating human trafficking. They must secure borders, enforce laws, and address the root causes of this crime. Strong border security measures are essential. They help prevent traffickers from moving victims across borders undetected. Law enforcement agencies need the resources to investigate and prosecute trafficking cases effectively. This includes specialized training for police officers. It also requires international cooperation to track down traffickers operating across borders. However, enforcement alone is not enough. Governments must also address the factors that make people vulnerable to trafficking. Poverty, lack of education, and limited job opportunities create desperation. This desperation makes individuals easy prey for traffickers. Expanding legal work visa programs can provide safe and legal pathways for migration. This reduces the likelihood of people falling into the hands of traffickers. By creating economic opportunities and promoting social justice, governments can help prevent trafficking at its source. To effectively combat human trafficking, we must send a clear message. This crime will not be tolerated. This requires swift and severe punishments for traffickers. It also means holding corrupt officials accountable for their complicity in trafficking networks. Law enforcement agencies have had some success in breaking up trafficking rings. For example, in 2024, Montenegrin police, in collaboration with Frontex, arrested 13 individuals involved in trafficking over 300 people. These operations demonstrate that with international cooperation and robust law enforcement, we can bring traffickers to justice. However, Legal loopholes and weak law enforcement often allow traffickers to operate with impunity. Countries must strengthen their legal frameworks to ensure that traffickers face the full force of the law. This includes enacting stricter penalties, improving victim protection measures, and enhancing international judicial cooperation. Furthermore, it is crucial to address the demand side of human trafficking. This means targeting those who benefit from exploitation, including businesses that profit from forced labor. By disrupting the financial incentives that drive trafficking, we can weaken these criminal networks. Education is a powerful tool in the fight against human trafficking. By raising public awareness about the realities of this crime, we can empower individuals to recognize and report suspicious activities. NGOs play a crucial role in this effort. Organizations like the Global Initiative Against Transnational Organized Crime, GITOC, are working to educate communities about the dangers of trafficking. They provide training on how to identify potential victims and offer support to survivors. These organizations also advocate for policy changes that protect vulnerable populations. Successful educational campaigns can make a real difference. By disseminating information through schools, community centers, and media outlets, we can reach a wider audience. It is essential to tailor these campaigns to specific audiences, such as migrant workers, young people, and vulnerable communities. Moreover, education must also target potential traffickers. By highlighting the severe legal consequences of their actions and promoting ethical recruitment practices, we can deter individuals from engaging in this criminal activity. Knowledge is power, and by equipping people with the right information, we can create a safer world. Why do thousands of people every year trust traffickers with their lives? Let's uncover the truth and stay safe together. A better life shouldn't cost your life. It's a heartbreaking reality, so many dreams shattered by the deceit of traffickers. They lure you with promises of a brighter future, but the path they offer is riddled with danger and despair. No one deserves to be trapped, exploited, or stripped of their freedom. Our lives are precious, and our dreams should be nurtured, not manipulated. Traffickers prey on hope, but together we can protect each other. Stay informed, stay vigilant, and trust only those who have your best interests at heart. Share this message, educate your loved ones, and be a beacon of safety in your community. Because every person deserves a chance to achieve their dreams without fear. Remember, a better life should never come at the cost of your life. Stay safe, stay free, and let your dreams soar.